I just got off a Q&A call in my social media management accelerator group. This is my community and live coaching group for social media managers and aspiring social media managers. I'm going to leave a link for it down below if you want to join and take part in these and get your real-time questions answered. But for now, let's talk about one that came in today that I think is going to be helpful to everybody. I hear this question time and time again. I am a social media manager and I feel like my content that I'm posting on Instagram is only attracting other social media managers. How do I reach the right people? Okay, this is my number one pet peeve with social media manager content on the internet is I think a lot of it tends to be geared towards other people in the industry. Your job as a social media manager is to know your client, to know the people who are actually going to pay you. And sure, it can be other social media managers if you're going to offer services to them, if you're going to do subcontracting for them, or if you want to do something like create a course or community for other social media managers. But 9 times out of 10, the people who join the social media management accelerator, the people that I talk to, they're not looking to do that, right? They're looking to work with their local boutique owners or their local law firms or large, Fortune 500 companies or coaches, consultants in other industries. So the first thing you need to do is identify your target audience. Figure out who exactly you do want to serve. And I think that this is something that sometimes just takes some time. This is one of the reasons I created the social media management accelerator is to give you some hands-on practice with different industries. We work with a series of different mock brands. So, like, there's a yoga studio, there's a staffing company, there's a candle company. So, you can kind of play around and create content for these different mock brands to see which ones you like and which ones you are good at creating content and strategies for. So, play around, of course. But once you figure it out, once you figure out an industry or a vertical or a niche, you need to dive into that niche. That's step number two. Really immerse yourself. Like, for example, when I worked in the corporate world, one of the big industries that I actually worked with was life sciences, which I don't know anything about. I can't really tell you exactly even what that means nowadays that I'm not so immersed in it. But back when I was working in it, I knew it well enough to speak to it and well enough to kind of speak that client's language. And so I wasn't on social media manager websites. I was on life science websites. I was looking at industry publications. I was talking to thought leaders, following thought leaders in that space on Twitter and Facebook and things like that. So immerse yourself. If it's local boutiques, immerse yourself in the fashion world. Get up to date on what fashion trends are happening, what global and industry wide trends are happening, right? Like we have things going on in the world, maybe with potential tariffs and things like that. You need to be in the know of that as somebody who is now a specialist and a thought leader in that industry. Here's the thing, we often think that we need to be on top of every single micro update on social media. Oh, the algorithm went from preferring 7-second content to 3-second content, or from square content to vertical content. Like, we think we need to be so on top of that. And yes, we should, obviously, as a best practice, always kind of stay in the know. But the thing is, the clients that you are going to be serving, that is like 20 steps above where they are. What they actually want to know is like, which platforms should I be on? Should I be posting videos or photos? I don't have time to post these videos or photos. Their concerns are generally quite a bit lower level than like being deep in the social media management world, if that makes sense. I'm not saying they're stupid or they can't understand an algorithm or that some clients won't be a little bit more knowledgeable, but most of the time they are not so in the weeds with it. And I think that's the issue is a lot of us get so in the weeds with it and we're like sharing these social media news updates and your client does not care. They just want to know what is going to make me more money, what is going to get more customers in the door. So the best that you can connect your messaging to that versus these little micro updates that are very niche specific and full of jargon that your ideal client isn't going to understand, the better. Okay, the other thing I just want to say quickly on this too is because this person specifically asked about Instagram content. And I asked her, I said, are your clients even on Instagram? Who's your ideal client? And the type of business that she worked with, I did think Instagram was a good place for her to at least have a presence on. However, not all businesses are on Instagram. And I think a lot of us gravitate towards Instagram because I think most of us probably use Instagram in our personal lives. So it's very comfortable to us. But this student actually, she was working with some local business owners. And I said, well, first of all, I want you to go on Facebook groups, go on your local Facebook groups, your local business Facebook groups, your local community groups, and also spend some time there because those places, those groups can be a gold mine for finding new clients. When I first started my business, one of my longest term, initial freelance clients was a podcast editing client. You know where I got that podcast editing client? It was through a Facebook group. I got so many clients actually through Facebook groups, which is a lot less sexy, right, than curating this beautiful aesthetic personal brand on Instagram, but you want to make sure you go where your clients are going. I'm not saying it's necessarily Facebook groups. If you're targeting lawyers or scientists or super techie people, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it is Instagram, maybe it's TikTok. But what it really all comes down to is you've got to know your client, understand their problem, understand where they're hanging out, and understand their process for hiring and for vetting contractors as well. A Fortune 500 company, the chief marketing officer is probably not going to be scrolling Instagram looking for contractors to hire. They're probably going to be on LinkedIn. They're probably going to be talking to their network. So you want to plan your outreach accordingly. You don't want to spend your whole life curating this beautiful aesthetic personal brand that no one is going to see, or at least your ideal clients are not going to see. I think it's important to post thought leadership content around your ideal client's industry, right? Post about, hey, here are some specific actionable marketing techniques, strategies, tips for boutiques or for law firms, not here's the latest Instagram algorithm update, here's a day in the life of a social media manager. And if you're going to do something like that last one, make sure to, again, cater it to that ideal client. Show yourself on a shoot at a local restaurant. Weave in a customer testimonial if you can snag one. Like, really make it specific around what you do, who you serve, and make it something that the people who you serve are going to want to watch and take value from. That's my best advice. All right. Hope this answer was helpful for you. If it was, consider joining the Social Media Management Accelerator. I will leave a link for that down below. It is my live coaching, accountability, and community group for social media managers. And I do Q&As like this all the time, so you can get your specific questions answered. If you've got something specific that you want me to look at, like a website, a social media strategy, a piece of content, I can actually look at it and give you a really custom, detailed answer on there. But yeah, hope this more general one was helpful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.